Corruption is a tree whose branches are of an immeasurable length. They spread everywhere, and the dew that drops from them has infected some chairs and stools of authority. A very warm welcome to everyone. Let me introduce myself and my team members. I am Akhila, and over here is Gautam, Lakshmi, Kirtana, and Hari Krishnan. We are all students of class 12th from Vivekodaya Boys School, Thrissur. And today we are here to discuss about something very serious and a significant issue in today's world, which is corruption curtails the development of a country. So today I will be moderating this discussion. So let me give a brief introduction about our topic. So you all know India is a vast and a beautiful land. However, the beauty and the goodwill of this great nation gets spoiled with the kind of corruption that is happening in our country. Almost in every sector, one could find corruption happening, and corrupt people are growing in great abundance day by day. So corruption is not a new phenomenon in India. It has been prevalent in society since ancient times. History reveals that corruption was present even during the Mauryan period. So what actually is corruption? By corruption, we mean that any kind of dishonest or immoral behavior or activities that results in the gain of some powerful organization or society. Thus, corruption often results in loss to weaker section of society or organization. There are different forms of corruption. It includes extortion, nepotism, bribery, patronage, etc. Corruption may lead to human and drug trafficking, money laundering, police brutality, repression of opponents, etc. So it is clear that corruption is a big threat to the development of a country. So now let's get started with the discussion. So to start with, what according to you are the reasons of corruption? Or how does a man become corrupt? Over to you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Akhila. I would like to start this section with a very important quote. Earth provides every resources for one man's need, but not for one man's greed. It's a famous words by Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, greed is a mother of corruption. Greed leads to corruption, which is a misuse of public power or entrusted power for private gain. Corruption is most common not only among the rich who are greedy to access everything, but also among the poor. And another reason which leads to corruption is poverty. As we all know, corruption delays, distorts, and diverts economic growth. Poverty invites corruption, and corruption deepens poverty. As according to the study of World Bank, clearly says that corruption is a major obstruction for poverty reduction. And empirical analysis distribution clearly shows that it's the poor who give high percentage of their income for bribes because they depend on public resources than the rich. And other than these reasons, extravagant families and lack of public commitment also causes corruption. And now, Kirtana, what according to you are the reasons for corruption?
Lakshmi, as we go through the present day newspapers, the recent expose of massive corruption in government has made people wonder whether crookedness is a typical human trait. Lack of clarity and transparency of our laws are the major reasons for corruption. Well, lack of clarity and transparency makes our laws fertile breeding grounds for corruption because the laws are interpreted according to the wish of the bureaucrats, politicians, etc. And if this system is changed, the corruption could be lowered to a greater extent. I think these are the major factors that affects corruption. Along with that, when we come to a state government system, the state government continues with the old paper-based administration. But the fact is that we live in a gadget century where a small child is having a mobile phone in his hand. Well, this system had to be changed because the digitalization should be imparted in every state government officials. Hence, we can reduce corruption. And I think these are the major reasons for corruption in India or any other country.
Okay, I totally agree with you, with your statement, Kirtana, but let me add some points to that. Okay, sometimes the problem is not the absence of a legal system to check corruption, but the problem is the failure of the legal code. the first thing that hinders development in our country is corruption, absolutely. But unfortunately, the last thing that is addressed legally by the authorities is corruption. So the higher authorities are not keen enough to check to check that the laws that check corruption are implemented properly. Here arises the problem of accountability. That is, whom should we take into account, or who is responsible to check corruption at a level? That is, if authorities at a level are corrupted and the higher authorities too are corrupted, then it would be very difficult to check corruption. All this arises from the lack of ethical standards in people. That is, people are least bothered about what is right and what is wrong. The officials are ready to do any kind of malpractices or illegal or immoral activities just for the sake of money. In my opinion, these are the problems that causes corruption.
I totally agree with you on that matter of ethical standards, Harry. I would like to add some more points. Like, being moral and sincere requires hard work and sacrifices. At the same time, the path of corruption might seem easy. So let's take the case of a film producer as an example and see what are the causes of corruption. So let's imagine that he's currently working on a new film. The director has suggested a newcomer for a talented newcomer for the role, for an important role. At the same time, a superstar approaches him demanding that his son should be given that role. If he gives the role to the newcomer, he would be doing the right thing. But at the same time, the superstar wouldn't be happy with it and might not even act in any more of his films. This will mean less profit. All the same, if he gives the role to the star kid, he would get in the good books of the superstar. And that would mean more profit for him. But at the same time, it's not the right thing to do. It's an immoral and insincere thing to do. So, and he would be promoting nepotism too. An average immoral person would take the easy second way and thus increases corruption. Another reason I have felt for corruption is low wages. Non-organizational workers or non-governmental workers are very much underpaid. It's the same with the daily wage workers who works in governmental institutions. They are not always, they do not always involve themselves in corrupt acts out of greed, but sometimes they are just looking for a way to survive. Another reason I have felt is judicial processes. As we all know, judicial processes can take a lot of time and resources. Those people who do not have enough time and resources will thus look out for shortcuts, thus leading to increased bribery and corruption. This is not caused directly by the acts of the people. It's also because of the inefficiency of the system. Taking cue from the inefficiency of the system, let's move on to the next cause I think is a cause for corruption. It's lack of transparency. Most of the people who get cheated are the ones who doesn't know much about the workings of the system. For example, let's take the case of an illiterate poor farmer who comes into a government office for his pension. He approaches the government official and the official demands 50% of the pension as a fee of some sort. It's a bribe, but the poor farmer doesn't understand that. If he knows the working of the system, he would understand that the government official is indeed paid by the government for his duty, and what he does is just his duty. He doesn't have to pay him any sort of money. But if he doesn't know about the system, he would just pay him the money he asked without knowing it's a bribe. These kinds of corruption are not just born out of acts of people, but they are a byproduct of an inefficient system.
Yes, so these are the reasons for corruption. And as my friend said, the first and foremost reason for corruption, it may be greed and dishonesty. Extreme poverty is another reason for a man to become corrupt. In the absence of a strong legal system, corruption may increase. So these are some reasons for corruption that we discussed. Now let's move on to the second thing, which is what are the evil effects of corruption, or what are the consequences of corruption in various sectors of our country. We'll start with you, Gautam.
Okay, coming to the effects of the corruption. Okay, I feel that being corrupt is itself a crime. It's obvious, right? If you're a corrupt person, you will not act according to your the social justice. Instead, you will act according to your own personal selfish reasons. Criminals will make use of such a corrupt system to escape justice. This will create a mindset among the privileged people that they can commit a crime and escape it using this corrupt system to their own advantage. This will naturally lead to increasing crime. Another reason I have felt, another effect of corruption that I have felt is very crucial is that corruption increases the disparities between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. For example, let's take a look at the bribery. It's an integral part of a corrupt system. The poor people doesn't have the economic capacity to hand off bribes. At the same time, the rich and the privileged people will hand off bribes and get what they need done. A corrupt system always favors the privileged. Moving to you, Lakshmi, what do you think about the effects of the corruption?
Yes, Gautam. But above all, we must keep in mind that corruption in education sector affects more people than in corruption in any other sector. As we all know, education is a fundamental human right enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All children in the world are entitled to free and quality education and must have equitable status to education, because it's the only chance for the rural people to escape from a life of poverty. Because corruption threatens quantity, quality, and equal access of education. If an education system is not built in the concept of meritocracy, honesty, and fairness, a country endangers its social, economic, and political future. Main reasons for corruption in education sector are lack of infrastructure, lack of social commitment, lack of transparent regulation, inadequate organizational structures, etc. And we can reduce a maximum extent of corruption in educational sector through decentralization, code of conduct, etc. With a clear idea that without an active citizenry that demands quality education for their children, reforms will not be sustainable.
Yes, Lakshmi. As along with the education sector, corruption had a huge role in the economic sector also. It reduces the foreign direct investment of the country. As we all know that how much FDI is important in a country's economic growth, because it gives plenty of employment opportunities to the people residing in that country. Well, as corruption increases, FDI decreases. As well as FDI, the rate of domestic investment also decreases. As my friend Gautam has told, it will increase the disparity, and the condition of poor will be very bad in a country where corruption is very high. So more corruption, the less investment and the less economic growth. For a country to attain a stable economic growth, corruption should be eradicated. So I think corruption affects more in economic sector.
Now, let me explain yet another sphere where corruption causes great damages. I feel like corruption can be the most dangerous when it comes to the political sector. The corrupt politicians can in a way undermine the legitimacy of the government or the government office. Actually, if the politicians are corrupt, then the people loses their trust in the public office. People have a trust in the public office that they will work in the best interest of the society. So if the representatives themselves, that is, the people's representatives themselves become corrupt, then the people will lose the trust, and it can endanger the democratic system of the country. Okay. Yet another problem is that it wastes the resources of the country. That is, the taxes that we pay can be utilized for something, some kind of useless projects, just for the sake of filling the pockets of the politicians or the corrupt politicians. Okay, all this leads to the fact that we will have to put up with poor quality services or infrastructure. Nepotism is another problem in the political level. That is, if due to political nepotism, the most deserving people are unable to reach to the higher level in the government sector or in government jobs, and so corruption at the political level will have the greatest role in hindering development.
Okay, so to sum up, we can say that corruption curtails the growth of a country. Corruption will eventually lead to inequality. The gap between haves and have-nots will increase tremendously. So it is evident that corruption has many bad effects. So now, finally, let us discuss about how we can prevent corruption. Lakshmi.
Yes, Agila, from this discussion, it's clear that corruption is infectious and corrupts are most aggressive. Through transparency in law, blacklisting the official who are engaged in corruption, making the legal system more strong and loyal can minimize corruption. The frauds must be punished and should be taught. Public participation should be held, making the awareness of risk of corruption and establish a sustainable system of national integrity. Anti-corruption education for public servants and students should be held because corruption affects all of us and we need to fight against it.
Yes, Lakshmi, along with you, I would like to add some more points to that. Well, as I mentioned earlier, one of the major reasons for corruption is the lack of transparency of the laws that exist in our country. As we all know that India have many laws, and the major thing is that there are many loopholes in it. So systematic improvements and reforms to provide transparent, citizen-friendly services can reduce corruption. There are Right to Information Act in our India. Well, this is a small step against corruption, but we should check upon how much extent does it work, and also the Vigilance Commission, the State Vigilance Commission, as well as the National Vigilance Commissions are there to prevent corruption in the central and the state level, but they are not working effectively and efficiently. So laws and policies should not be made according to the wish of the bureaucrats, and instead we should make it according to the wish of the common people. Well, by these reforms, we can erase corruption in our country, and we can live in a prosperous country where there is no corruption.
I agree with you on that point. Legal measures or legal reforms can do a great job in curtailing or stopping corruption. But change cannot be brought about just by reforming the legal system. It is the mindset of the people which needs to be reformed. That is, a strong public awareness is required. If a common person is asked for a bribe by a bureaucrat or some kind of, or an official or government official, he has to have the courage to say no. This has to start from an early age. That is, every child has to be taught or trained in morality. So that is, every child has to be able or has to have the ability to discriminate what is right and what is wrong. So ingraining them a sense of morality from the childhood can ensure that the children will not get involved in some kind of illegal activities in the future. So we all know that corruption is a major threat to the development of the nation, and we, as responsible citizens, have to say no to corruption ourselves, and also discourage others, our fellow citizens, from getting involved in some kind of illegal activities like perjury, bribery, nepotism, and the lot.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on the matter that children should be ingrained a sense of moral obligation from the childhood onwards. It's true. Have you ever considered why some people stand strong against corruption, no matter what happens? It's because they have this moral obligation ingrained in them from a young age. Let's take as an example Robert Baldwin from the play The Hour of Truth. No matter how hard his family tried to persuade him to take bribes, he didn't fall into the enticing hands of corruption. So we ourselves can prevent corruption. So let us all report acts of bribery and other acts of corruption to the Anti-Corruption Bureau, because fighting corruption is not just good governance, it's self-defense, it's patriotism.
Yes, it has become the need of the hour to resist corruption. Corruption should be nipped right from the bud. And clearly, we students are the future of this country. So we should pledge to never adopt any corrupt path under any situation. And we will raise our voice against any unlawful or illegal activity that takes place around us. Corruption has to come to an end, and we need to reach a situation where every Indian should feel and say that they are living in a corrupt-free land and be proud of it. Above all, it is our duty to understand that it is easier to change ourselves than others. So that brings to the end of our discussion. We would like to thank everyone watching this for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.